Everglades is full of incredible and beautiful animals, but for most people, the American alligator is not one of them. It's got a long, teeth-filled face and resembles something between a dinosaur and a piece of driftwood. It spends most of its day laying in the strong Florida sun and part of its day swimming. It is very inactive and probably unsightly to most people, but personally I think this is a beautiful animal, and here's why. They don't always start as massive swamp monsters. They begin their life in a tiny package. Born only a couple centimeters long, the American alligator hatchlings are vulnerable to almost everything that calls the Everglades home. Despite this fact, predators must always be wary, because the hatchling's mother is never far behind. American alligators are devoted mothers. They will look after the hatchlings for up to 3 years, enough time for them to reach a good size, ready to take on the world all on their own. This is unusual, as most reptiles tend to be independent from birth, so this reptilian mother is a unique feature. They don't stay small for long, and in no time at all, the American alligator goes from the most vulnerable creature in the Everglades to its most successful apex predator. However, being a predator is probably the least interesting thing that the American alligator is. It is also incredibly beneficial for the survival of all of the swamp's inhabitants. During dry seasons, alligators will build holes that hold water to keep themselves safe from the drying sun. But other animals will use these holes too. Fish, snakes, and even turtles will all gather in these holes to save themselves from the drying, deadly sun. Alligators also dig tunnels through the thick Everglades grass to help them get through the environment. But without knowing it, they are also being incredibly helpful for all of the smaller animals which also inhabit the Everglades. These big highways make it a lot easier for small creatures to move around the environment. Instead of wrestling through thick grass, they can just go through a gator-made highway. Because the American alligator digs these holes and builds these highways, it is known as an ecosystem engineer, an animal which doesn't just inhabit an environment, but whose very existence is vital for the survival of other creatures in its environment as well. Being a fierce predator doesn't keep you safe from threats. Throughout the 60s and 70s, the American alligator population dropped as the demand for alligator products skyrocketed. The demand for these products was so high, more alligators were being shot and taken from the wild, and soon these animals were put on the endangered species list, destined to be lost to us. With quick and steady action, the American alligator was granted protection, and their population began to climb. The hope for the American alligator was low, but it was still there. And thanks to the hard work of conservationists, in 1987 the American alligator was taken off the endangered species list, and now is a common sight in its American swampy home. The challenges for the American alligator are not over. As their populations grow, they start to become closer and closer to human beings, and incidences become more common. Teaching people about alligators and alligator safety are the new obstacles that face the American alligator and its survival. The challenges that this creature faces are not over. But all in all, it is a fantastic story about how we saved one of the oldest predators on the planet from the brink of extinction and brought it back to being a common sight. So there you have it. Next time you see this big piece of driftwood floating along your TV screens or in front of your own very eyes on a boat, remember that it is an animal which began its life at a few centimeters long, built its way up to become the most powerful animal in the Everglades swamps, is a kind, devoted mother, not just a heartless creature, and faced the very brink of extinction and is a symbol of hope that we can bring animals from the very edge of disappearing back to being a common sight.